Happy Star Wars Day, Grand Admiral Thrawn fans, and to celebrate the greatest holiday, I'm doing a double Black Series review of the second best duo in Star Wars. I'm sorry, R2 and 3PO fans, but I think Han and Chewie are better. But when I say second, I mean that these two are the closest second out of them all. So, today I will be reviewing the Archive Wave C-3PO and the Mandalorian R2-D2. These are the newest versions and probably the cheapest versions of these two that you can get at the moment. And they are really good for that. I'm going to be starting with 3PO and then I will work my way to R2. But anyway, let's get on into this video. So with 3PO, the thing I like the most is that they actually make it that he is like C-3PO. They didn't just do like your average human mold. No, they went out of their way to make it that he is robotic, just like C-3PO is. For example, the arms aren't just straight arms. They're like how 3PO's arms are. They're curved and at an angle and everything. And the legs, they can't bend the whole way. They can only bend some of the way, and the way how his legs are of how he walks a certain way like a robot. They got that detail right. And this figure they went above and beyond to make it that it's just like C-3PO. For example, why is my thing on Empire? It's supposed to be on Rebellion. For example, you can see that they have the wires under his chest there, and they're on the back too. They went on both sides with it. On this chest, you have his, I guess his bullseye. I don't know what you'd call that, but he has it there. It's a bunch of circles. They did a great job with that detail. And they carry that over throughout the whole figure of that you can see the detail in the lines on the figure. Like here are his legs. They did a great job with those. On his arms, they have the same detail. On his back, you can really see it. And then on the face, they did a great job with it. Now, some people say that this figure, sometimes the eyes will be cross-eyed and it'll look weird with the 3PO figure. I didn't get that because I actually look at my figures for misprints before I purchase them, so my 3PO is good. But some people have stated that theirs will occasionally have like a cross eye where one eye is pointing straight and then the other's looking up. But as long as you look at your figure before you buy it, you shouldn't end up with one that's cross-eyed. I really do like this 3PO figure. He's great at standing up, and he's great at capturing C-3PO's emotions. And by far, what I think the best thing that they did with this figure is they got his one leg right. Now, okay, it's going to keep turning to Empire, so I'm just going to take this off. Okay, so a bunch of people think that C-3PO's legs are both gold. They are wrong. One of 3PO's legs, and you can see this in A New Hope, and almost every movie, 3PO's one leg is silver. From the knee down, it is silver, okay? And most action figures, I don't have a problem with it, but Hasbro's Black Series went above and beyond to make sure that that leg is silver. They did a great job with it, okay? It really helps the figure, and I really like it. You can't really do any expressions with the figure, but as long as you, it's the same way with the character. As long as you pose him right, you can tell what emotion 3PO is saying. I will come back to his figure. For real quick, I want to cover his box. It's an archive box. I've talked about 1,000 of these. I like them, but they are honestly a once and done. After you open this figure, this box is useless. However, I do really like that picture that they chose for 3PO. That is a great picture of him. It's the same on the front, and it's a good box. I like it. But it is an archive box, which means you only get to use it once. And coming back to the figure real quick, I really love all the detail that they did on 3PO. This really does look like him. One detail I think they could have done is they could have added a restraining bolt on his one arm somewhere just so you'd know which version of 3PO it is. Except that's kind of a bad thing too, because then it would be narrowed down to that he's got to be from A New Hope. Without the restraining bolt, you can have it that this is 3PO from any of the Star Wars movies. Anyway, Yeah, I really love all the detail they did. Like on the back of his head, for example, you can see that he is packed full of detail all the way across through his arms. Even his hands, you can see the detail that they put into this figure. And they did a great job with it. There is amazing detail everywhere on this figure. And I really like it. There is lots of detail everywhere. So I really like the 3PO. But now, let's be honest, the moment you were probably waiting for, because I myself am guilty of this, I prefer R2 over 3PO. Not saying 3PO is bad, he is in second in my top 10 or 20 droids ranking, but I prefer R2 as a character. We will come back to 3PO at the end of the video. Now, this R2-D2 figure, I don't know why, but for some reason, it is impossible to get an R2 Black Series because they are always selling out, and then he's priced at like $100 on eBay or Amazon or whatever you're looking on. Scalpers have bought them all and are pricing them way too much. However, Hasbro did something smart this time, and when they were releasing an R2 for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, they reused that same exact figure and released him for the Mandalorian, which is a great idea because now there are more R2s out there, and so people have a better chance of getting one of them. And just looking at this figure, they did an amazing job, okay? All the blue, all the white, all the gray, it all looks great on R2. And he has great posability. For example here, you can see, you can move all three of his legs. The third leg is optional, like you can put it in if you don't want him to have his third leg out. And it looks just like R2-D2. The third leg is a bit difficult to get out of there once you put it in, but as long as you do it right, you should be able to get it. He's great at standing up, and he doesn't have wheels on the bottom of his legs like Chopper does, which is something I would have done, but he still can glide on surfaces, for example, like here. Another great feature that this figure has is his head can turn 360, just like R2-D2 can. And then he's packed full of other features, such as that all of his components here, you can open them up, like, hang on a second. Here we go. Like, for example, all these little hatches on him, they open and close. They're very difficult to open is the thing, and I rarely ever open them, but they are all openable. And they even packed him full of all these great accessories. I forget which one of these it is, but one of his top blue pieces can pop off, and you can store some of these other accessories. Hang on, I never got them out of the box because I never used them, but some of the other accessories that R2 comes with are his third eye from The Empire Strikes Back, which is one of the parts that you can remove with the hatch on his head, and it looks really great. I think this is his scanner from Empire, and that also looks really good. The other ones that you get are what I believe is a data spike, the things that they use in all the animated stuff, and that one looks really good. Or it could be a small version of Luke's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi, but I don't think that's what they're going for with this. And then the other two options, three actually, that they gave R2 are his taser, which looks amazing, a third arm, dropped it, there it is, a third arm, which he uses when he battles Yoda for the stick, and finally, whatever this thing is, which I don't know what it is, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And those are it for his accessories. They really didn't need to include those, but I love the fact that they went above and beyond and did include them. The R2 itself has so much great detailing. I love the fact of how it actually reflects and is shiny and just looks like a clean R2. This really makes me think it is from Return of the Jedi or The Mandalorian, as it's kind of supposed to be from here. The Mandalorian, but it's the Return of the Jedi figure. They just repacked it. On this R2, they went above and beyond with detail. Like you can see all of his little spots have detail on his head all the way around to the back of the figure. And just like with 3PO, you can see all the lines that show all the great detail they did. His arms, well, I guess legs, he doesn't have the jetpack feature, but that he doesn't have that in The Mandalorian or Return of the Jedi anyway. But you can still see all the cool detail on his legs. And on the front of him, too, he has so much great detail all throughout this R2 figure, and I really love it. So, these two figures, I think both of them are amazing. If you're going to get one, you got to get the other, because having R2 without having 3PO is like having Han without Chewie, or Mando without Grogu, or just Palpatine without Vader. There are so many great duos in Star Wars. And I knew that I had to do one of the two for May the 4th, because unfortunately this year I'm breaking a tradition and was only able to do one. Every other year I have done 2 videos for May the 4th, but unfortunately this Star Wars Day I'm only doing the one, and it's a double review, so technically it's 2, but I don't see it that way. So I'm sorry that I could only do one video this year. However, a tradition that I will not be breaking will come at the very end of this video. So, for the 3PO, a 10 out of 10 figure, I heavily recommend. For the R2 figure, 10 out of 10, I heavily recommend. And let me know down in the comments, what are your Star Wars Day traditions? Because everybody has them. Mine are that my dad and me watch A New Hope. Sometimes we do a different original trilogy movie, but we always together on May 4th, we'll sit down and watch one of the Star Wars original trilogies, or one of just a Star Wars movie, but usually it's A New Hope. So I'm just going to say every year we watch A New Hope. Let me know down in the comments what your Star Wars Day tradition is. The 3PO is a 10 out of 10, and the R2-D2 is a 10 out of 10. So together they're 20 out of 20. This is Grand Admiral Thrawn signing off. And don't forget, the Force will be with you always.